welcome back to my channel. I am Diva in case you don't already know, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a full lace braided wig. Not just how to make the lace wig, also I'm going to be showing you how to ventilate the wig cap from scratch. All right, so yes, we're making this wig from scratch, from start to finish. We'll be ventilating the wig cap, we'll be braiding it also. This is to save you money. Like, you get to save money, because I mean, just doing this, buying this alone will cost a lot, but doing it yourself will get to save you so much. And I really hope you learn a lot, because in this video I spilled everything. It's so juicy. I brought out all the tips, all the tricks. All right, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, then make sure to keep on watching. Love you. Mwah. So lovely, the first thing we're going to be starting with, this full lace wig cap. This is the wig cap we're going to be using today. You can go ahead to make this according to your own head measurement. You can go ahead to make it yourself, but I'm using a store-bought one today. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that wig cap on my canvas head and just pin it securely. You want to make sure you place it the right way. All right, so place it the right way, pin it securely. You don't want it to move, so you don't make mistake when you're taking your measurements. It's very essential that you pin it down very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my head measurement, as you can see written on the screen. I'm just going to take the front to back measurement, and then I'm just going to pin that down. All right, so I'm doing 14 inches front to back. That's my head measurement, but I actually think you should at least leave 1 inch more so that you have enough space, because it's a full lace wig. You want to give room for space, or for like an allowance, baby. So I think you should add 1 inch or half an inch will be fine to add to your measurement. I didn't add any to my measurement, but I actually think it's very necessary. So the next thing I'm going to do now is take my ear to ear measurement. I just went ahead to put 7.5 in the middle, because my ear to ear measurement is 15 inch. So I'm just going to use 7.5 in the middle, and then pin it down at 1 and 15 on both sides, which will give me my perfect measurement. So that's really what I'm doing for ear to ear measurement, just to know where to ventilate, where to start and where to end, basically. So you want to make sure you're using your right measurement to ventilate and not another kind of measurement. So for this part, I've gone ahead to pin the wig cap down, right? So now I'm just going to go ahead and take in the excess. But guys, I'll be honest with you, if I had known better, I would not have done this step, because I feel it's not necessary. And this space right here is what gives room for the head shape. I mean, if it was a person with a smaller head shape, then fine. But my head shape is kind of, I wouldn't say my head is big, but yeah, it is. It's not really like tiny like some people's head. So I don't think this is really necessary, if you ask me. The wig cap, after I was done, it actually was a bit smaller than me, to be honest. So I would actually skip this depending on the person's head shape. But if you think it's too big, this is one way to take it in. All right, so I'm using an invisible thread. You want to make sure you're using an invisible thread. You don't want to use white thread. You don't want to use black thread. All right.
1 step forward, 2 steps backwards, yeah. Immature lover who don't use big words, yeah. I don't need commenting at all, because I know what I want. Baby, can't you figure it out? What's going on in your heart? What's it gonna take for you to love, take for you to love me?
So the next thing I'm going to do is take the measurement of how small or how large I want my column and row to be. So that's what I'm going to go ahead to do. You want to make sure you pin the tape right at the beginning of the hair, and at the end also, the beginning of the wig cap and the end of the wig cap. So you want to go ahead and use that to determine how big you want it. Honestly guys, I would really have just gone for a much bigger spacing, to be honest, because this hair took a lot of time. If it was a lot more bigger than what I did, it would have been lesser time, but I don't mind it. The outcome was flawless. So yeah, I'm actually marking a 1.5 inch roll, but I later changed my mind that I wanted it to be 1 inch by 1 1 inch. All right, so it's just your decision, whatever you want to do. If you don't understand what I'm doing, please watch the first video. I think that was a little bit more explanatory, but now I'm just going to create the column line. And what I'm doing, I'm just placing the tape vertically, right? I think it's vertical, not horizontal, but I'm just going to do that. I'm just placing the tape, and then I'm just going to mark 1 inch. So I wanted to go ahead and do 1.5 inch by 1 inch, but it just didn't look right. I'm going to show you guys the sample of what I wanted to do first of all, but it just didn't look right to me, so I just went with 1 inch by 1 inch. So this is just me measuring out the column. So I'm showing you I wanted to do 1.5 inch by 1 inch, but you see it just looks a bit, it looks rectangular, it doesn't look square. So I didn't really want that to be the outcome of the braid, so I just went ahead to take that off, and then I just went in by 1 inch by 1 inch, as you can see on the screen. I'm going to use my measuring tape to measure that out so you can see that it's exactly 1 inch vertically and it's exactly 1 inch horizontal. That's the roll is 1 inch and the column is 1 inch. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is ventilating the wig cap. I want you to keep in mind that this wig cap was store-bought, like I said. So it had 3 sections. It had the front lace net, it had the back lace net, and it had the middle net. The middle net is like a very different material. Then this is the pin I'm going to be using to ventilate. This is the pin I use. It's a crochet hook. I don't use the normal ventilating pin. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and start ventilating the back of the wig. All right, I'm going to show you guys how to ventilate for the 3 sections. We have the front, the back, and the middle. So this is me ventilating the back of the wig. It's actually pretty explanatory, and I can actually just let you watch this video and just let you see what I'm doing, because there's really nothing serious I'm doing. But for the spacing, what I'm doing is I ventilate one hole, leave a space, then ventilate the next hole basically. Then I ventilate 3 by 3 to create a box, if you know what I mean. So I ventilate the box 3, then the next line 3, 3, 3 to make a box. I hope that is very explanatory. So I ventilated 3 lines to make a box, so because you don't have to ventilate the whole box, because still it won't show. It doesn't really matter if you ventilate the whole box or you just ventilate that 3 line. And even for the middle part, I actually went in with 2 lines by 2 lines because I was getting really tired, and I just felt it was the middle part. Nobody was really looking at it like that. Like, it won't be so visible if I did 2 line by 2 line compared to when I do 3 line by 3 line in the front and the back. So for the middle part, I did like 2 lines, and for this part I'm doing 3 by 3. So a lot of you ask me, oh, what if you don't want to, draw a line, it's for someone? You don't have to necessarily draw a line. And honestly, once you do your first box, it kind of determines the rest of the boxes. So you don't even have to draw. I just do it for display purposes, so people get a better understanding of what I'm doing. You necessarily do not have to draw anything on the wig cap, and you can still be able to ventilate. You don't even have to put powder on it. It can still look very clean and very fresh for when you're making it for someone else.
Drinking non-stop, just trying to forget you and everything we said, but I can't seem to get these thoughts out of my head. Baby, why'd you have to love me like that, love me like that?
So I've gone ahead to ventilate the back of the wig fully and half of the net, the middle net. So I'm going to show you how I ventilate the middle net right now. So for ventilating the middle net, what you want to start by doing is using these little pins. All right, you could use, I don't advise using T-pins when you're working with a lace net because it can easily rip through the net. So using these very tiny pins, you want to go ahead and stretch that material. So this tutorial is for those that are going to be using the store-bought wig cap. If you make it yourself, you don't necessarily literally have to use this material of lace. All right, so because it's store-bought, we have to work with what we're given. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that pin to stretch the material out so you can easily put your needle through it and see what you're doing very well. So with this, I hope it's clearer how I ventilate. I leave a line and then ventilate the next line, basically. So there's always one spacing between them, but when it's like a pattern, it becomes two nets or two spacing, if that makes any sense. So that's really what I do. So you can see here I'm ventilating 2 by 2, 2 by 2, like I said, because it's even a stretching material. So once I'm done, it's going to shrink back and you won't even see that, oh, it's not really full, or like I didn't do 3 by 3. So normally for the back, I ventilate 1 to 2 strands when I'm ventilating, because I'm ventilating 3 by 3. But since I'm ventilating 2 by 2 on this part, the strand of hair I use can be as much as 3, 4, just so it has enough hair to hold it or to cover it up. So now I was really doubtful when making this wig. I really wanted to see if it would fit or if I was doing rubbish. I just really wanted to know what was going on. So I went ahead to cut out the ear holes with the measurement, with my ear to ear measurement, which is 15. So I went ahead to cut it out. You don't have to cut it out if you're doing this for somebody. It would be so rude of you to cut it out if this is for someone. But if it's for you, you can go ahead to cut it out just to make sure you're doing the right thing. So I went ahead to try it to just see I was going and see if I was actually getting my measurement right, because this is the first time I'm actually working with a full lace net. This is the first time I'm actually working with it, so I really needed to be careful and needed to know what I was doing. So for the front of the lace, what I do is I use a bundle normally, but I didn't have a bundle, so I just went ahead to cut off an old lace. I cut off some hair from an old wig and then I just brushed it out, and that's what I use in ventilating the front of the wig. When I say the front of the wig, I mean the edges part of the wig, where is the front, the first row of the wig, the first thing you see when you look at the wig. I use the hairs to ventilate. I use the human hair to ventilate when I'm ventilating that. I don't use the normal expression that I use. Why? I just feel it has a very softer look and I feel it blends in more when you lay the hair. That's my opinion. And I always use the human hair for edges because it looks weird when people use attachment for edges. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion, but I think it looks really weird when people use attachment for their edges. It just doesn't look right. So I advise you to get a bundle. You don't have to cut from your wig. You can get the sell bundles, just normal bundles, and you can just use to ventilate just the front part. It doesn't have to be the whole hair, just the front part and your edges, and you're good. You're good. Just make sure the color match when you're getting it, because I had to use my wig that was black, that was jet black, so it matches with the extension I was using to ventilate normally. So guys, this is what it looks like when we're done with the ventilating of the wig. So I'm just going to go ahead to the braiding of the wig. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. So the attachment we're going to be using for today is the Darling Prequel Coily Braids attachment. It's in the color 1/27. So this is what it looks like straight out of the pack. It's actually a really nice attachment actually. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bit of oil. You just want to use a very little bit of oil and just run through the hair or the extension you're going to be working with. You want to do this so you can lightly tangle it, or so you can lightly detangle it rather, so you can easily remove it and be able to pat it easily without it tangling up. So that's why the oil is very necessary. So I've already gone ahead to start braiding off camera. I'm just going to show you how I braid. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and lose that braid we've made once we finish ventilating. You want to loosen that up. Make sure you comb it very thoroughly. And then you want to take the pins, those little pins. They're very important when you're working with ventilating hairs, all right? So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I use that to kind of pin the hair down, because if you don't do that, you're kind of going to braid the nets while you're braiding. I don't know how to make that make sense, but if you're doing it, you kind of see what I'm saying. So I'm going to take my shine and jam. I'm just going to go ahead and use that to braid. You guys know I always love using this to braid. If this is the first video you're watching of my braided wig, please go back and watch the other previous videos. There are way more details. This is just me skipping through because I expect that there are knowledge already, so you can go ahead to watch the previous ones if you haven't. I'm going to leave them up here for you to check, and also in the description box, so make sure to check that out. So I'm just going to go ahead and start braiding this. So one thing you want to take note of, if you're braiding for like you want your extension to be really small, or rather you want your braids to be really small, you have to consider the hair that you're ventilating, because the hair you ventilated now, if you're using the expression like I am, it's bulky, it's not as thin as the human hair would be. So you want to consider it when you're adding your attachment, because I really wanted these braids to be tiny. I didn't want them to be as bulky. I wanted them to be something very simple and sleek and nice and small. So you want to consider, that's why you see me, I braid a lot before I start adding in little by little attachments. All right, so I add very little because I just wanted that size to be the same. I kind of wanted the same size the extension was already, if you get what I mean. So I just add very little when I'm eventually braiding, to kind of just give that feel of the attachment. So you don't go in, make sure you consider the extension also, because it's more bulky than your normal human hair. So this is what the wig looks like immediately we're done. I'm just going to go ahead and ventilate some edges on it. So I just went ahead to ventilate the edges on the ends of the hair and the side buns. I don't know how to place it, but you can see where I did the edges. So now we're going to go ahead and install this wig, my favorite part of this video, because finally I was done braiding and ventilating this hair. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my foundation on that lace. All right, you want to tint it to match your skin tone, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess lace. And you see I didn't put foundation in the middle because it's net and it won't really show through. I'm going to show you what to do about that in a minute. So you're going to use a brush, a very tiny brush, and foundation, and just go over the lines. I know it's stressful, but it's needed so it doesn't look weird, right? Because imagine the rest of the hair being tinted and the middle just looks, but see me being all excited because I'm about to slay this wig. Also, I thought I actually did mess up this install a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my wig cap on. Very important, you want to use a board cap because it's a full lace wig. It's not going to look so fine if you're not using a wig cap. And I didn't do this the board cap method way. I just wore it. I didn't do anything. I didn't put anything on the on the wig cap. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and wear that wig. I'm going to go ahead and put on that wig, and baby, like, it's giving scalp already. If I didn't spoil this install, I know it would be giving so much more. No, the install wasn't so bad. I just made a few mistakes, which I'm going to highlight so you don't end up making that same mistake like me. But look at that hair, like, it looks so good, and I'm so impressed with everything. So I'm just going to use the scissors to get rid of the excess lace so I can see what I'm doing before I start actually going through with the install. So for today's install, I'm going to be using this Wonder Lace Bond spray. It's my first time using it, and baby, this spray is the bomb. Like, I know people were putting me on it, but I just didn't get it. But now that I've gotten it, I kind of understand what the hype is about. The fact that it's controllable more than got to be spray, and the fact that, like, it smells so good. And one thing also, it doesn't leave residue. I am hooked. Like, I love it. But you can go ahead to use got to be spray if you have that. Also, you could go ahead to use any bonding substance, will do the job actually. So I just went ahead to lay the lace, like you can see, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess lace actually. And that's really it for this install. So how did I mess up the install? The lace is darker than my skin tone. I don't know how I did that. I think I used my contour powder while I was setting the lace, which is so wrong of me. So the lace was darker than my skin and it just didn't look good. It's not bad though, but like, it could be better, So really, that's just my problem with the install. And I did mess up the edges, which you'll see very soon. But yeah, we're still cutting the lace and it's giving scalp. And I didn't put the wig in the middle part. I always make that mistake for some reason. I have no idea why. But it's not in the middle part. But it still gave. It still gave. And I'm really impressed with it.
Wanted to get it right. Trying to find some balance in my life. But I never
So I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing my edges, and this is where I messed up my edges, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know, and I'm so pissed, but it's fine. All right, like you can literally see my face in total horror because I was like, what did I just do? Why did I mess this up? What is going on? But yeah, we still kind of pulled through, and it still looks, I mean, it looks good. It looks good, but it could be better. That's the annoying part. But so I'm just going to go ahead and use my powder all over that. So you can literally see that lace only because it's darker than my skin tone. If not, it could have melted. Even though this lace is different from the first lace we used, but still I don't mind it at all. This is a Swiss lace if I'm correct. The previous lace is an HD transparent lace. And yeah, so lovelies, we're done with this braided wig. This is how it looks like. This is how it came out. I'm really excited about it. I'm really impressed that it came out this way. So I just really wanted to answer a few very frequently asked questions. Okay, so number one is, how did I cut the hair? I normally see that I didn't cut this hair. Obviously, I think I've mentioned that already. This is like the length it came. It already came pre-treated, pre-coiled. I'm not really a fan of this attachment in case I've not really mentioned it. I don't think it's the right attachment for wigs. You can use it for braids, and I think it's really flawless. But for like, because of durability, I don't really would recommend it, but it's not bad. Then secondly, I get asked a lot what I use to ventilate the base of the wig. I always use an expression attachment, an expression black attachment. You could use whatever color you actually want. You could use whatever base color you want. Maybe you want blue and you're trying to make the whole hair blue. You could use that too. You must not use black. Or I've seen different wigs, different braided extension with different colors. All right, so it mustn't be black. And for the front, I kind of cut whatever old lace I have, or I could just buy a bundle and kind of use it to ventilate the front. But this time I cut it from an old wig, like I showed you guys. So really, that's basically it for how I ventilate, or what I use in ventilating the base. I just have a bunch of attachment now that like black tiny attachment, like cut into 4. I normally cut it into 4 and use it to ventilate. So I always have it handy, so I just pick from it and start ventilating whenever I want to ventilate. So another frequently asked question I get is the needle, the ventilating needle I use, does it rip the net? I mean, if it rips the net, I won't be using it. Okay, I mean, this is proof that it doesn't rip the net. So I have that on my online store. You can check it out at TBM Hair Tools. So you can get whatever hair tools there also from TBM Wig Tools, period. All right, so that's where you find the ventilating needle. And I'm also going to leave the Amazon link down below in case you want to get it from Amazon. You can check down below in the description box also. Then yeah, I think that's really the questions I get most asked for my braided wigs. Then really before I forget to mention, I put this hair in hot water. The pack of the Darling attachment said no hot water treatment because of the coils, obviously. So I actually turned it upside down because it's a wig. I can do that. So I turned it upside. If it's a human head, obviously you can't turn it upside down and put the person's head inside like very steamy hot water. So what I do is I just take the wig, and yes, you can put the wig cap inside hot water, very hot water, and it won't get damaged. All right, someone asked me that in the previous video. You can't put the whole hair inside hot water. If it didn't have the coily tip, I would just dip the hair inside hot water, but you have to dip it in a kind of way that it doesn't cause the hair to like bend, like so the hair is still very straight. All right, because there's a way you place it in hot water, it kind of loses shape and it just looks anyhow. So you have to be careful also. So I went ahead to dip the hair, just this part, to the end where the coils stop, and then I dipped it inside hot water. I don't like hair they don't dip inside hot water. It's kind of very heavy and it's not flexible. So hot water is very important for any braided wig I do. So that's basically it. I really hope I've answered all the frequently asked questions, and I really hope you learned a lot from this vlog. from this vlog, from this tutorial. I really hope you learned a lot, honestly and truly, because I poured out tips, I poured out technique, I showed everything I do in achieving a braided wig. We messed up the edges, but that's fine. I think it's actually not bad because I'm not really an edges fan, but if I think it was bad, I could just easily go ahead and ventilate it again. I think that's one of the perks of knowing how to ventilate, because you can go ahead to customize a wig the way you want it. So lovelies, that's really it for this tutorial. I really hope you liked it. If you liked it, please hit this video and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to hit that thumbs it up. Let them know that you loved this video, because I really poured my heart and all information into this video. And also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, join this family. All right, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. And if you're watching the end of this video, you already know you're the what? You already know you're the real MVP. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next week video. Love you. Mwah. Bye.